Hey folks, how y'all doing? Trent Clark here with Mallet Builders. We've got an interesting show today. We're going to be choosing the right colors for your post frame building. The power of great design. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I believe that I was informed that this is coming off of a blog, so we got interest in this. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about where's Mallet. Got 90 jobs going on. You can see we're scattered through Texas, all the way up to North Louisiana, even some Mississippi, a couple in Mississippi. It's nonstop, folks. Every week it's the same thing. Basically 100 jobs a week going on between concrete pours, building erections, forming crews, gutter crews, control joint crews, electrical, plumbing, the whole 9 yards, folks. But the first step is to get your building under contract. The second step is to go to design. And that's a whole nother show. That might be a good show. We'll go through the whole process one day, okay? Maybe tomorrow or whenever he wants to. So anyway, that's where we're at. 90 jobs going on around Texas, Louisiana, and a few in Mississippi. In Louisiana, you got 64 jobs, as I described earlier, all the way from delivering your building, erecting your building, forming your building, concrete pour, gutters, control joints, electrical plumbing, the whole 9 yards. We're doing it here. We got a full-fledged field service crew that goes out every day. Our scheduling department is probably the busiest building in our facility, because they are constantly getting jobs done in there, okay? Scheduling all that. And in Texas, you got, I don't know, 21 jobs over there. Same thing there. So it's nice to look at the map and see how scattered we are and how we can get all that done in 6 days. Why Mallet? Look, folks, we talk about this all the time. We created the rival series to go up against our competitors, okay? We can sell you a rival building, we can build you a rival building, but I wouldn't personally want to sell you that building, because why? For a few $1,000s, you can get into the classic building, and it's well worth it, folks. Particularly, you got 29 gauge metal on the rival, you got 26 gauge metal in the classic. The classic, remember, our classic building here at Mallet is the lowest tier of the Mallet series buildings that you can get, which is way better than our competitor's best building, okay? So keep that in mind. You got a 5-on-12 roof pitch, which is classic, a 4-on-12 with the rival, 2x6 common truss. You do have 2x6 truss with the classic, but you're going to have a scissor truss or a cathedral truss, which is going to make it's going to feel a lot more open. I walked in one today. We're building down in Lake Charles, and it's just so much more room. At least it feels like it is. Which and you do have head height in there where they can put a loft in that building and be able to walk all the way through that. So keep that in mind. And look. That building is 130 mile an hour wind rating. This one is 140. No uplift control. Why, with all the features that the Mallet building gives you, why wouldn't you spend a couple of $1,000s more to get the classic over the rival? And that's not going to work out with every building. We're just talking about the 30 by 50. It's going to be give or take of some hundreds of dollars in whatever size building you get. So don't take what I'm saying here. This is an example off of a 30 by 50 building, okay? So don't take my words and turn them around. It all depends on the size building you get, okay? You keep that in mind too. Normally, when you go to a bigger building, your square foot price is going to come down, okay? Because we got a little bit more room to work with, because it's a bigger dollar value, right? So we can calculate all that. And just remember though, folks, here's what a lot of people, are forgetting. To get you in this building, we're actually, it's a value to you. It's only costing you a couple of $1,000s, but it looks like when you really do the math that we're giving you $5,000 to $6,000 worth of added value. Don't forget that. Remember, on the rival, it's 2x8 headers our truss carriers, and we use two by 12 truss carriers. Big difference. 3,000 psi over there, 4,000 psi here. Plus, we're going to add microfiber. Okay, all that costs money, and it is the life of your building, folks. I mean, it's not like we're adding this stuff and charging you arm and leg. And really, and truthfully, we're giving you more than we're asking you to give when you think about it, okay? And I'll go over that in a minute. Skirt board guard, 4-year workmanship warranty. It's going to give you 2 more. We don't even know if our competitors give warranties. And if they do, how would they when most of them are going out of business. We already had 2 this year go out of business, folks. You just can't, we've been here for 27 years and we're proud of that. We're going to be here to take care of problems that you may have, limited warranties on the rival and on our competitors. We have I'm not adding any value on our workmanship warranty. You tell us, what is that worth to you? Every stage of our when you go from the classic to signature to the elite, you get better and better workmanship warranties. How much is that worth to you? That's what you got to ask yourself. Remember, over here on the classic, we use number 1 MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber. Over here, most of it's going to be number 2 lumber, okay? All that matters, folks, okay? So that's why mallet. That's why I choose the mallet series. It's just superior product for way less money than when you really put the pencil to it, you're getting way more value than you're having to put in the game. So we're giving more skin in the game than you. All right, so it benefits you. So like every day we like to say, $500 discount to our military personnel, healthcare workers, first responders, and educators. If you're one of those people looking for a building, now's the time to get that $500, folks. If you want to upgrade to the signature or the elite, type in cash to a live feed just like this one, and we're going to give you an extra $1,000 off. All right? So, March specials and promotions. Folks, let me tell you something. If you're on the fence about getting a building, okay, if you got that boat or that tractor or something that should have been in a building 4 months ago, let's think about that. Let's put that in perspective. You pay $60,000, $70,000 for a boat and it's sitting out in the elements. When you could pay right now, this week, you could pay for a 40 by 60 elite, $61,599. Now remember, this is an elite building, the best of the best with all the bells and whistles. And we're going to give you 10 foot free, so you're really getting a 40 by 70 at no additional charge, folks. So again, if you're on the fence, you have that tractor, that boat, whatever it is that you should have put in a building 6 months ago because it costs more than this building, now's the time to buy it, folks. And I'll tell you why. We are giving you 10 extra foot of the whole building, okay? In reality, you're going to buy a 40 by 60, but we're giving you a 40 by 70. And that is a $18,000 value that we're handing you. So if you're on the fence, now's the time to do it. You got to the end of the week. Today's Wednesday. You got to the end of the week. You need to push to get this. This deal's going to go away. We're going to have a new deal next week, okay? So really, if you're on the fence, folks, now's the time. This is a great deal, all right? Now, we still got our Cajun Oasis. This is the classic. Remember, our classic is better than our competitor's best building. They ever thought they could be. This classic Oasis, however, is a 30 by 50 by 12. It's $49,999. You're going to get electrical package with that and a AC. So when we're done, turn on the lights, turn on the AC, build it out however you want inside. If you want a little gym, if you want a little, a heated and cooled shop, whatever you want, you can do with this building. And we got a one just like it, but it's an elite, which is going to give you gutters, going to give you 6-inch concrete, which is added value, okay, for $59,999, and that is a 30 by 50 by 12 elite Cajun Oasis. Like I said, you get the air conditioning, you get the electrical package. Both of these combined is a $10,000 value, folks. So we're sitting here handing you money. Now's the time to buy the building, folks. I'm telling you. I know how it goes. You're thinking, well, I should have bought that building. I should have bought that building. Then all of a sudden 6 months go by and the price of goods go up. So that means everybody has to go up. All right. So if you know that you need the building, we're the best company out there. I'm just going to say it like that. We've been in business for 26 years. We're not going anywhere. We continue to improve our processes, folks. All right. We want to build the best building for you, and we have done that. So if you're on the fence thinking, you need to come in now and shop. Okay. Now, we'll always want to go through the 5 red flags. Look, just a couple of weeks ago, Lee had 4 or 5 people call him about a competitor that is now out of business, but taking people's money, folks. I mean, look, this is real. This is not, we don't just sit up here and tell you about the red flags because we want to scare you, okay? We are trying to educate you that this is serious business and it actually hurts people. One lady, without naming names, I mean, they've taken $50,000 from her that she now has to owe the bank. The bank will get her the money from the lady that lost the money and gave it to the company that was supposed to build her a building, and now they're not going to build it. Okay, so this is real. So the 5 red flags that we think that's very important is years in business. Folks, look, if you go to the Secretary of State website and they're not even on there, that's a major red flag right there. That means they're not even, licensed as a business, okay? So be aware of that. But you also can find on that same website how long they've been in business, okay? A red flag may be if they've been in business 6 months, a year, or even 2 years and offering you a 10-year workmanship warranty. That may be a red flag, folks, because most of the time, if you ask Lee, he's been in it 27 years, most of the time, these people don't stick around, okay? There are competitors out there. They don't stick around. Next year you'll have 2 more pop up and 2 more go away. They're just not here for the long haul like we are. So years in business is a major red flag. Check that out. Licensure. Make sure they have the proper licensure, folks. Look, you can go to the LSLBC website and you can search the contractor's name. If he don't pop up, that's a red flag. Okay. Also, if his name does pop up, you can go and search the violations, see if he has any violations, because I think that's very important for you to know. They need to let you know if they do, if it's a legitimate company and they're trying to better themselves. If I was out there, I'd be like, look, I do have a violation. I worked through that. I'm trying not to do that again, but at least you knew. If they hide that from you, that may be a red flag. They might be trying to hide something else, okay? So be aware. This is real stuff, folks. People are losing money, okay? It could be you, so be careful. Contractor violation, just talked about that. Reviews on the BBB and Google. We got over 700 reviews on BBB and Google, maybe even more by now. But look, we're proud of that. Most of our competitors, they're not even associated with the BBB, okay? Like Mr. Tim Tackett always says, he'll probably comment today, look, folks, if you're gonna look for a $30 product or a $100 microwave or a range or something that you're putting in your house, and you're gonna look up the reviews on that, why wouldn't it be a good idea to look up the reviews for something or a company that you're going to spend $30, $40, $50, $60,000 for? I think it would be, and I think it'd be a major red flag if you can't find any. Okay, just keep that in mind, folks. Lastly, visit their facility, folks. Look, we invite you here. We want you to come here. The building's been here for most of these buildings have been here for 27 years. We've been through 16 hurricanes. So it's not going to be a new building, but you will be able to see what a building for 27 years it looks like, okay? We're not going to have our new and improved building. We do have a building downstairs that we're building for our roll form plant, but that has 2x6 truss in it. We are now doing 2x8 truss and scissor truss at that. So just in that short period of time, we have improved our process. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Pick a company that is constantly improving their process, okay? Just like when, these automobiles, they are always upgrading their engines. If not, we would be dealing with carburetors and stuff from 1940s and 50s. Okay, I'm not saying that's bad, those are classics, but you have to be improving your process to make the best building in the country, and that's what we do here at Mallet Building. And I can prove that to you if you come down and talk to us. So visit the contractor facility. It may be a red flag if you are, talking to these people in their truck or signing a contract in their truck or on the hood of their truck. That may be a red flag, folks. They might not have a facility. They may not be in this for the long haul. They may be trying to turn a fast buck. Be aware. Be careful, because it's happening. Now, let's get into the juice of the story today. Choosing the right color for your post frame building. The power of great design. Okay, let's see what we got. Color is not just cosmetic. The colors you choose impact curb appeal, perceived quality, visual size and proportion, how it completes your home, complements your home, long-term resale value. Okay, I got a glare on my TV. Long-term resale value, and all this is true. Okay, how you pick that out, I think what we're trying to say is take into consideration what your home looks like. If your home's white, okay, and maybe some dark trim, you may not want to go put a blue building in your backyard. But look, it's your building. If that's what you want and you choose to do that, everybody's different. That's your prerogative. But if you ever go to resell that house, you got to consider that too. You want it to blend in with what you already got. I think that's what we're trying to say here. We certainly are not trying to tell you what color building you can buy or want to buy or have to buy, but we're trying to explain to you, be thinking of things like resale value. If you're going to be there forever, do what you want. Ultimately do what you want. How color changes the look of your building. First impressions matter. Neutral walls, contrasting trim create definition. Dark roofs visually anchors the structure. Wainscoting breaks up large wall surfaces. Remember, on an elite building, you can get wainscoting. You don't have to, but what we're talking about here is wainscoting is a very pretty building. Some people don't like it. I always cringe, and I hope some of our customers don't get mad at me for saying this, but I always cringe when somebody gets wainscoting and the wainscoting is the same color as their building, okay? Because in my mind, it's useless to have wainscoting the same color as your building. Why? Because you actually have a trim that is separating the wall of your building. So in my mind, and I think in maybe say like a designer's mind, you'd want that to maybe be the same color as your trim or the same color as your roof. But, at the end of the day, it's your building. You do what you want for it. All we're doing is suggesting stuff to you. And I like when it says that wainscoting breaks up large wall surfaces, and it does, okay? And I wanted to throw in that when you buy an elite package from us, that wainscoting is included. Wainscoting is not a free deal. Wainscoting, I think it's very expensive to do because there's trim involved and there's, extra work involved to do wainscoting. So at least you get that on the elite building, and then you can do stuff like what we're talking about, change your colors, put it to maybe the same color as your roof or the same color as your trim, kind of like a two-tone deal. Colors impact scale and proportion. Yep, colors can change how large or tall your building feels. That's true. Darker walls visually shrink large surfaces. Lighter walls feel taller and more open. Matching roof and trim equals sleek, modern. High contrast trim, bold, and defined. So for taller buildings, 14 to 16 foot eave walls, balance comes critical. Like right here, we got, kind of light stone and burnished slate. That's always been a popular, pick. Light stone is one of the most popular colors. You know, it's neutral. It's neutral. Practical considerations: dark roofs absorb more heat, lighter roofs reflect sunlight, some colors hide dirt and pollen better. All true. And that's why I want to bring this up, and we might not have it here. Let's keep going. Let's see. Okay, color, black, charcoal, bold, modern, high-end. Gray tones, clean, versatile. Earth tones, warm, neutral. Green blends into acreage. Red, classic, born heritage. White trim, crisp definition. All this is true, folks. One thing I want to make you aware of, just like on a black vehicle, with the darker you go with metal, okay, remember this, it looks very good when it's clean. That's going to be a metal that maybe will show, you know, screws a little more, because, you know, the darker you go, you'll be able to see maybe some dimples in the screws. You know, a lot of people don't take all this into consideration. You can visualize a black building, and I'm going to tell you, a black building is very, very pretty, okay? But it's going to be just like a building. You know, you're going to have to keep it up more. You know, white is going to show less all the time, just like a white vehicle. So keep all that in mind when you're picking your colors. I think ultimately, you know, it's whatever you like, and ultimately, you know, if you want to, you know, I think the biggest takeaway from me here is you want to consider your home. What does your home look like? Let me pick some colors that maybe will blend in there. If you got brick, your brick has, you know, maybe some, you know, some beiges in there, or some dark tones. So maybe charcoal and light stone, like we just pointed out, would be a good color. But we can help you with that, folks. We're not going to pick for you, because ultimately that's your decision. And but we can help you. We have colors here to come look at, because a color chart in the actual metal could be a little different too. So common mistakes to avoid. We see this often: choose colors without considering the house. Just said that. Ignoring trim contrast, using too many competing tones, forgetting how large wall surface actually look, design the building in isolation. That's all very, very true. And I would just say right here, take into consideration, if you're doing an all black building, it's going to show up a lot more, especially when you start torquing your screws, okay? You remember, this is metal. You torque these screws down and you may have a little dimple, okay? And I think, you know, I personally love a dark color building, but sometimes in the right light, not all the time, but in the right light, you can see these little dimples. Take all that in consideration. And that would be a, you know, on this deal, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I didn't see it on here. But the darker it is, the more it shows, okay? So that's our common mistakes there. Proven combinations, you know, the classic and clean. You got light stone, brilliant white. That's classic charcoal. These are the classics. And look, to me, can't go wrong with a white building. As we pointed out, your darker color roofs are going to, you know, you're going to be hotter on the inside, whereas that light color roof, you know, is going to reflect the sunlight. You know, traditional born, that crimson and white, I mean, that's a really good looking building. I see it all the time. I mean, but it depends on where it's at. Will that crimson and white really look good behind, you know, a brick house? Right behind that brick house, that crimson may look good in a pasture kind of away from the house versus real close to the house. So take all that into consideration. And you may want to go with the brilliant white and charcoal. That may be a little bit more easier when you're closer to your house. But, you know, the traditional barn is that crimson color and white. And I'm going to tell you, it's a pretty, pretty building. Sometimes it may not look as pretty if it's next to, you know, a house. If it's next to a white house, it's going to look good. But if it's next to may say like a brick house or something, it may just be so obvious that it throws things off. And I think that's what we're trying to tell you here today, is take all this into consideration. Don't just focus in on your building, you know, focus in on what's around, you know, your whole property. What's going to be the best color for me? Because what we don't want at the end of the day, and this has happened, What we don't want to happen is you pick out these colors on paper and then the building goes up and you're like, oh man, maybe I picked out the wrong color. And at that point it's too late. So, you know, take all that into consideration. Go to the modern farmhouse. You got Alamo and black and charcoal. Man, that's a beautiful building, but I'm telling you, it's going to show a lot. Earth blends, you got tan, brown, and burnished slate. Burnished slate is a very, very popular color. A lot of people use it. So that's some proven combination that always works. And you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's your building. If you're in the mood for one, come down here and talk to us. Right now is the time to buy. So choosing the right colors for your post frame building. That was our show today. I think we always want to talk about the ambassadors. So look, if you want to see one of our buildings, we have ambassadors out there that our building specialists can set an appointment up and you can go view the building, okay? We more than likely have one in your area, so if you're interested in that, get with a building specialist or our marketing team or me or anybody here and we'll set that up. That's one way that our ambassador club works. The other way is if you have bought a building from us and you want to show that building off, you can get paid a $200 referral fee when somebody comes and buys a building for you showing your building. So we're proud of that. We got a bunch of ambassadors out there. Thank y'all if y'all watching. We really appreciate y'all. That's our show today, folks. We really appreciate your business. We'll see you tomorrow.